Today we will discuss the last topic in the chapter, planning process or steps in planning. Yes. Before analyzing these steps in planning, we will just see what is the definition of planning. We learn planning involves setting up of objectives for a given period of time, developing alternative course of action and selecting the best alternative from among the alternatives available. So if you go through the definition, it is clear that this process, planning process, involves a number of steps to be performed. Let us analyze the steps. What are the steps in the planning process? First one is setting objectives. Okay. What do you mean by objectives? Objectives are the end result that the organization wants to achieve. So we can say it is the first step in planning process. Every organization set the objectives for the entire organization. Every organization set the objectives for the entire organization. Means the top level management prepare the plans for the entire organization, and each department or units like purchase department, production department, they prepare the sub plans for their department according to the overall plan. Means every department or unit has a plan according to the overall objectives of the. Then it specifies what the organization wants to achieve. Means the end result that the organization wants to achieve. Then objectives should be clearly stated. So when we set the objectives should be clearly stated. Clearly stated means it should be preferably in a quantitative manner, not in a qualitative manner. Example, when we set the objective for board exams, if you are saying, okay, I want to score good marks, how can we compare that how you have attained the objectives? Because good, that 80% may be good for you, but 90% is good for me, so we cannot compare. So always when we state the objective, it should be clearly stated, preferably in an objective manner or in a quantitative manner, that is 90%. Then it is easily comparable whether we have achieved the objectives or not. So the example of objective is the organization may set the objective as increase in sales by 20%. Then it may be 10% increase in profit, or it may be 5% decrease in cost. These are the examples of objectives. Then the next step, developing premises. So once the objective is set, the next process is, or the next step is developing premises. We know planning is futuristic. So managers are required to make certain assumptions about the future. These assumptions are called premises. Example, then we are expecting a 20% increase in sales. We must have some assumption on the basis of which only we decided our objective as 20% increase. What may be the assumption? Yes, the next month Onam celebration is there, or the Christmas celebration is there. Then due to this celebration or on account of celebration, there may be an increase in demand for garments. So the increased demand we can convert into sales. Then definitely there may be a 20% increase in sales we can achieve. See that assumption. That assumption means that increase in due to the celebration, there may be an increase in demand of these garments. That is the assumption here. We call it as premises. So this process we call it as developing premises. And assumptions are the base material upon which the plans are to be made. It may be in the form of forecast, or it may be that existing plans or future information. Next step is, after developing promises, we have to identify the alternative course of action. The various alternatives are available. Suppose if you want to achieve, or our objective is to achieve an increase in sales by 20%, we have to identify what are the ways or means to increase the sales by 20%. Like there may be quality products can be provided at less price, means decreased price. The second one, discount can be allowed. Like that, many alternatives are there. Then again, advertisement, mass advertisement should be given. So all the alternatives should be identified. See, there may be different alternatives available to achieve these objectives. All these alternatives actions should be identified. Then next, once the alternatives are identified, the next step is evaluating these alternative courses. How it can be evaluated? The next step is to weigh the pros and cons of each alternative. We have to weigh the pros and cons. Pros and cons means advantages and disadvantages of each alternative. The positive and negative aspects of each proposal need to be evaluated in the light of the objective to be achieved. Alternatives are evaluated on the light of their feasibility and consequences, means advantages and limitations. So each alternative should be evaluated, both advantages as well as limitations. Then, once we evaluated the alternatives according to their advantages and disadvantages, the next step is selecting the best alternative. So we can say that selecting the best alternative, here we are doing the real point of decision making. We know that selection is called a decision making. The best plan has to be adopted and implemented. The ideal plan, then what is the best plan? The best plan would be the most feasible, profitable plan with the least negative consequences. Why means least consequences means least disadvantages. Nothing is free from limitation. So every alternative has its own disadvantages also. So we have to select an alternative which has more advantages and least disadvantages. That is should be selected as the best one. Okay. Then the manager will have to apply permutations and combinations and select the best possible course of action. It should not be a guesswork, it should be scientifically selected. Next is, okay, we have selected the best alternative. Then definitely the next step is implementation of plan. This is the step where the other functions also come into picture. Here means implementation. Once we are going to implement the plan means the organizing we have to do, the staffing, everything, all the other function also we have to do. That is why this is the step where the other functions also come into picture. This step is concerned with putting the plan into action. So there may be a question, which steps in planning ensures or concerned with putting the plan into action? The answer is implementation of plan. Then, so the plan is implemented. Do you think that once the plan is implemented, everything is over? No. The success of any plan depends upon proper implementation as well as follow-up action. See, to see whether the plans are implemented and activities are performed according to schedule is also part of planning process, that we call it as follow-up. Monitoring the plan is equally important to ensure the success of the plan. So these are the steps in planning. See, let us sum up the steps in planning. First one is setting up of objectives. So you keep in mind, objectives means the end result which the organization wants to achieve. It should be stated in an objective manner or quantitative manner better. Then second one is developing promises. Then Developing premises means the future assumptions. Next one is identifying the alternative course of action. Then after identifying the alternative courses, we have to evaluate the alternative course of action. Then according to or as per the pros and cons, or the pros and cons of each alternative should be evaluated. Then the next step is selecting the best alternative. Best alternative means an alternative with the highest advantage and least consequences or least limitations. Then the next one is, sixth point is implementation of plan. So it is a very important part. So proper implementation only ensure the success of the plan. Next one is follow-up action. So follow-up action is also equally important. That's all about steps in planning. Hope you can understand. Thank you.